Hi everyone, I'm Lizzie Bentley and we are here today at the FuturePrint PodFest, and I'm excited to introduce our rising stars from the Printing charity. So Callum, did you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Callum. I'm Senior CRM Marketing Executive at InstantPrint. We're the UK's largest online printer. And we work with businesses up and down the country, printing everything from small format, including your stickers, your business cards, your flyers, everything you expect like that, all the way up to sort of your crowd barriers, your large format posters, uh, pretty much everything on fabric and paper. We pretty much do it. So I've been in the industry for 2.5, 3 years now. And I won the Rising Star Award 2 years ago, which has definitely sort of helped me with my career so far. But more on that later, I'm sure.
Okay, great.
Hi everyone, my name is Sayeeda. I work as a business development exec for Xerox. You probably know Xerox for printing, but since then we've kind of expanded into the tech space, digital and IT solutions area. I've been in print for about 4 years now, starting with print, moving in there as well, expanding into those different areas. And this year, am a Rising Star alumni like Callum.
Okay, Connor.
Hi guys, I'm Connor. I am a senior estimator and commercial analyst at Paranova Print and Packaging. So we produce predominantly food packaging, but also we've got a couple of other areas as well that we're sort of developing. But my job is to price stuff up, to quote stuff, and to sort of analyse profitability. I've been doing that for a couple of years, but I started in the industry about 5.5 years ago as an admin and kind of rose through into the commercial team.
Okay, so my first question for you guys is, how did you find your way into print? What got you into the printing industry? And what has surprised you most about being here?
I started as an admin.
Yeah.
Sort of, I think we'll probably all say a similar thing, but kind of fell into the industry as an admin between the supply chain and commercial. So I did that for a couple of weeks. I then was asked if I could go into supply chain. So that was a fairly quick kind of lateral move. Was then a raw material controller for a little while, moving materials around the supply chain. That gave me a brilliant sort of basis of understanding about the industry in general, or at least my side, but then also gave me a brilliant sort of launching platform to move into the commercial team, which was about 8 months after that. I started as a trainee, did that for about 10 months, became an estimator and then senior estimator. It has been quite a roller coaster, and I think that getting into the industry, seeing behind the curtain, what's involved, the kind of scale of it all, the volume, the cash, seeing early stages of packaging that you recognize later in sort of retail stores is quite enlightening. So it's been a journey.
Callum?
Yeah, so my journey into print, essentially, I lived literally 2 or 3 miles, and I still do live 2 or 3 miles from where I work now. So we're part of a big group, Blue Tree Group, and I used to drive past quite regularly and think, Blue Tree Group, what do they even do? They've got a big factory, but that's such a strange name. So obviously you look into it, you start to find out everything that's going on. And a couple of years later, I ended up applying for a job for our sister company, Route One Print. Unfortunately got turned down for that and went somewhere else, which led me to redundancy. But ironically, one of my friends worked with my marketing manager, and they posted a role on LinkedIn for a content marketing executive. And he was like, you should really go for this. I was like, that company name rings a bell. Obviously applied for it and they took me on. So that was obviously my way into the industry. In that time, obviously starting, I looked around, I thought, this is bigger than I thought. I mean, you start looking around at some of the stuff on the shop floor, some of the printers, and you realise that, you know, it's not just them little printers in the corner of the office or at home. Some of these things are absolutely ginormous. We've got 2 lander presses, and the only way I can ever explain them to people, and I'm trying to talk to people, and they're like, you sound a bit excited. I'm like, it's like something off of Star Wars. I'm waiting for Grogu to come out of nowhere and say hello to me. So you do kind of fall into it, but I think I've always somehow started to gravitate towards it since getting that sort of interest in what's this big building, what's going on, and let me get in, essentially. And yeah, not looked back since.
Oh, fantastic.
Cool. So I essentially also fell into print, I think, as most people do. I had finished university at the time and had done a little focus around marketing as well. So I was kind of looking at grad schemes at the time. So I found myself looking into some marketing grad schemes or with marketing agencies. So I started as an apprentice in there. And then I found my way into print through there. They do multi-channel marketing, so print was one means of their marketing. From there, I got into sales a little bit, more marketing, and then I did some account management around print as well. And I guess I've stayed there since, in the sense that it just grows arms and legs, and then you realize that, oh, you can do this with print, you can also do some creative in print, you can go different areas. So I was building my knowledge at that point, went a little bit into operations as well to see how print is also manufactured with the big machines as well, and I was thinking, what is this? This is huge. And from there, who I was with at the time, they got acquired by a parent company, which was Xerox. And from there, I moved into the selling side of print alongside the other solutions that we've got. What I find surprising about it as well, to answer the next part of your question, was you never really notice too much about print. You just see it everywhere. But now what surprised me the most is the actual process behind printing something, from the initial idea, the concept, the designing, the reprographics, the printing, all the way to the delivery and execution. For it to literally get posted through your door, for example, or see it on the wall, you don't really think about the behind the scenes and everything that goes into it. And some areas, as you guys will probably know, is quite technical, with colours, inks, everything like that.
I think that is a typical theme when you do speak to people throughout the industry, is they typically fall into a role and then they realise how much potential there is within the print industry, whether that is being operational, technical, marketing, sales. There is so much growth available there. So through your journeys, what sort of experiences have you guys had that have really sort of accelerated your roles?
I think that when I started in the printing industry, there was at the time quite a widespread crisis around raw material in sort of Europe and the continent. So that kind of, I would consider it like a trial by fire. I ended up joining supply chain right in the middle of an unprecedented sort of crisis around lead times and availabilities and stuff like that. So you kind of you learn through those challenges, seeing the kind of worst of the supply chain, being kind of thrust into that situation and having to deal with customers, retailers screaming for product, and you're telling them it's going to be 20 weeks before we even get the material in. And for people like some of the bigger retailers, that's not the answer they want to hear. But it was sort of all over the place. So then after that, when I moved into commercial, I think that what really accelerated me was being given sort of tenders and opportunities fairly early on. So I was kind of trained up, obviously, but like very early stage, even still as a trainee, I was on top of a £9 million tender, and the kind of responsibility that I felt I was given, it really did help, because I then reciprocated with the drive and the motivation,
confidence.
I felt like they trusted me.
Yeah.
They trusted me with something of that scale, if only to give me the experience. You know, obviously there was still people around me and stuff, but
Yeah.
if you want to accelerate a younger person's development, make them feel like they've got responsibility.
Yeah, give them the guidance and the leadership that they need, and then provide them the opportunity to take responsibility.
Yeah, you'll get that proactive approach out of them if you're able to kind of give them the circumstance and the situation to do that.
I would say to get into all of it, bottom line, just kind of saying yes to everything that kind of makes you feel uncomfortable, even if you don't have a full plan, you're not sure where you're going. If something sounds a little bit of interest to you, especially as a young person, I would say, you don't have everything kind of figured out. You might not have the whole trajectory, the whole plan. So anything that sounds interesting and anything that excites you or makes you feel a little bit nervous, just kind of say yes, you'd be willing to do that if the opportunity comes around, and kind of figure it out as you go. And I think that's how most people fall into print, by just saying yes to one part and then realizing the breadth of it, the opportunities, and then you find yourself in so many different areas and growing before you even know, and building your knowledge around it. So I would just say anything that kind of comes around that's of interest there, saying yes to it, even if it makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable, a bit nervous about it. And something that accelerated that, I definitely would say, is the Rising Star Awards. I don't know about you guys hearing about it. I didn't know that it had existed before, but finding out about it, it obviously gave us the opportunity, a platform, a way to invest in our growth, what areas we were interested in. And obviously then you realise there's actually a lot of young people out there who are in print. There's a community there for you guys, and you can obviously build networks and speak to other people in similar roles as you, different roles to you, share notes, relate. There's like a little community there. So I think that definitely accelerated it for me per se, and everyone else has probably been involved with that, I would say.
You mentioned about the Rising Star Award and that you get a grant when you win the award. How did you find that helped you? Were you able to get on a course or do some extra training?
Yeah, no, definitely. So the application process as well, I'd say, I don't know about you guys, but that in itself was a good process internally to know, okay, what areas am I interested in? It's kind of like a reflection process. So doing that in itself was very educational. And then obviously had you got through, or you had your case for why it is you want to invest in certain areas, for me, an area of that was leadership within print. So I used my grant for a course towards that. And you can develop your knowledge from there, get a qualification. But I also know similarly other people might have had interest in other areas. It could have been like creative or any equipment. So you can use your grant on anything that you want to in your interest area. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I've had a few moments, to be honest with you. It started probably just before the first lockdown, which seems like a million years ago now, but then it also feels like yesterday. I was working in logistics at that point, and I was working alongside the commercial director, and he was really pushing me into sort of like coming out of my comfort zone and really bringing out the best of me. And he pushed me into, well, he didn't push me, but he taught me, and he made me feel confident enough to start a uni degree part-time. So I signed up for a business management degree with marketing with the Open Uni and started that. Unfortunately, as happened to a lot of people during COVID, is I got made redundant about 6 months later, which was an absolute nightmare. But that started really my pathway towards learning and sort of growing. And then when I started at Instant Print, I have two great managers. I've got obviously a great marketing manager, and I've got a head of e-commerce marketing that have both been really supportive from day one, and they've literally helped me bring out the best in me, which I'm very lucky to have. But one of the things that I did is, like I said earlier, we are the UK's largest online printer, but we weren't sending any print out, so we weren't actually able to show what we were doing. We were sending sample packs and welcome packs, but other than that, we weren't showcasing the best in what we do. And if we're going to say we're the best, we need to be confident enough to put it on our customers' doorsteps. And with a lot of our customers being small businesses, medium-sized businesses, they need to feel that, they need to see it to understand, well, why are you the best? So my role started to evolve from content marketing, which was a lot to do with sort of social media and things like that, into CRM, because I was like, well, let's get more in front of customers. And also with our emails, how can we sort of improve the process that we've got in place now to make sure that we're sending relevant things to the relevant customers at the right time? That's obviously helped me start to think more as a leader and think, what's the best strategy that we need to start employing, and how can I propose that to the head of marketing, to the marketing manager, even to the directors at times, where it's a case of, this is what we need to do, this is what's going to happen, and this is how we're going to sort of measure it. From that moment onwards, I feel like my career just started to go up, onwards and upwards.
Wow, it's really great to hear all the different stories that you guys have from your own experiences. Obviously, during listening to those, you've mentioned things like training and having good leaders and people who believed in you as people and your ability to rise to the occasion and be good leaders yourself. So what do you see as young people, businesses within this sector doing that they're doing well to attract young people into the print industry and then retain them?
I think you mentioned earlier about an apprenticeship, but I think that I'm seeing that certainly within Paranova, kind of employ more apprentices in kind of real apprenticeships, because so often they can be used in the wrong way. But I think that that's a brilliant way of getting people, not just graduates, but also graduates that want to get into an industry with a more kind of hands-on approach as well. They've been brilliant for us. You know, we've had them everywhere from HR to engineering, you know, and across the production floor.
Yeah.
And you'll often capture some kind of brilliant hidden gems amongst younger people as well, because a lot of the time they're blank slates, and
They are.
and it's a brilliant way of bringing them into the fold, and retaining them is about giving them a path forward, about showing them that if, you know, certainly if you want to stay, if you want to keep in your business, make them feel like there is a way forward, there is a way of developing. It might not be in 6 months you can be sort of in the next roll up or anything like that, but to be honest, so often the PDR process is so kind of you know, it's not utilized in the right way. It can feel kind of like a paperwork, sort of paper trail type thing.
Yeah.
But if you want to grow young talent and keep it within the business, you've got to make them feel like there's somewhere to go.
Yeah.
Because certainly for me, you know, I said it in my first interview when I joined Paranova, my kind of drive, my motivation is to keep going. You give me the opportunities and I'll take them. You know, if I start feeling stagnant, that's where I start sort of thinking elsewhere.
Yeah.
I would say I definitely agree with that, in the sense of having kind of like a pathway. I think what's kind of going well, or what the industry is doing right now, is pathways like apprenticeship programs, any school leaver kind of programs as well. Probably could do with more in different areas. There might be some that we have, but maybe we can make more of them around. So I think that's pretty good. And what I've been finding very well right now is having good leaders, good managers that will support you with what you're doing, give you that belief in what you're doing. Because I think when you're young, you probably don't even realize your potential that you've got, what you can do, what you're capable of. So having that guidance around. So things like mentoring, if you've got people within your own businesses that you can kind of reach out to as a separate program, get some career advice. We have this thing where you can book exec meetings with anyone within the company, get maybe half an hour in their diary just to chat through anything that you want to go through, get any career advice, and them being very open, honest and transparent with you about how they got into things, or giving you that guidance. So I think that coaching, training, that's all well. And then when it comes to retaining people within there and keeping them within the industry, like you mentioned, having pathways, and if you don't really have a great development plan or progress or anything like that you can see, creating that. So creating those opportunities, identifying where you've got areas for opportunity, and if you don't, how can you build on that and forge a path so you know that there's a future for you to stay. Again, when you feel stagnant, that's when you might not know where you're going or what's next kind of thing. So if you can definitely see and it's visible and you've got people working through that plan, then you know, okay, you can kind of do a similar sort of thing, or you know where you can go with it, I would say.
Yeah, I suppose as well, it's also showing young people exactly what is involved in print. So we're having conversations earlier, a few people, and we spend most of our lives in front of a screen in some way, shape or form, whether it's our phone screens, a tablet, a telly, a laptop. So we've all kind of got used to that digital noise. However, even when you're looking on your screens at the moment, the World Cup's on. If there was no print, it'd be a very dull tournament, all the flags and stuff like that. Every time you're looking around on the way into here today, you're seeing all the flyers around, you're seeing the posters, you're seeing even road signs, street signs, things like that. None of this would happen if it wasn't for print. So it's actually showcasing that as much as possible. And I feel like once you're in the industry and you start seeing it, you can't help but notice it. You go into restaurants and you're like,
What's that?
what's this? Oh, that's $2.50 still, definitely. You just naturally start doing stuff like that and you don't really understand why. So for me, that's a really good sort of talent retainer, essentially, because people do start talking, people do start to open their eyes. In terms of obviously the sort of entry and the doors in, and what's sort of helped massively is, you kind of alluded to it yourself, the printing charities Rising Star Awards. Obviously it's open to people aged 18 to 35, and for young people to be able to get £2,500 in a grant to sort of get the courses and sort of start training. I did my CIM level 4, which is something I aspired to do for quite a while. And that for me was a massive mind blow that I could actually get that sort of funded, because I've worked in various industries before print and I've never seen anything like it, where as an industry, they are wanting to sort of support you and sort of that growth and that development. And for me, that's, again, it's been a big part in changing my career and getting me to where I am now and where my trajectory is continuing to go as well.
It's incredible to hear that there are so many different pathways in, and that once you appear to be in, there is those training opportunities there and development programs in place. You know, when you mentioned about being able to set the meetings with the executives, that's such a fantastic initiative to give people a really great understanding of where things can go and to get feedback as well on where they can improve. So you've all mentioned on it a little bit about how you see print everywhere in your day-to-day life. Typically, I think a lot of people think when they think print, it's a very traditional industry. You know, you've got big printing machines, which are dirty, dusty. You know, it's all very hands-on, old school. Is it different? Is print different behind the scenes? What can you really get from being involved?
Well, it's massive. Like we said, it's everywhere. You can't look anywhere without seeing print in some way, shape or form, from your instruction manuals to sort of marketing material to wayfinding your signs and things like that, to even watching telly, like I said earlier with the World Cup. It's absolutely everywhere. And for me, we recently invested in some new machinery and it's got lasers inside, and that's who doesn't want to see lasers?
Who doesn't want to play with lasers?
Like the technology that goes into sort of all the machinery that you see on the shop floor is absolutely incredible. If you look back into the sort of history of print, it started with things like rocks. And look where it is now, all the technology that's deep inside it, even the way that it's starting to look as well. It's not just looking like a big block anymore. They are sort of making the design look like fighter jets. They are making things more exciting, more entertaining as well. So as soon as you start looking around the facility, you start looking at what is capable and what is sort of developing, you start to see, oh, there is a massive world and a lot of opportunities in there. And that's whether you're involved in print as part of your job, or even as a day-to-day person, like even my wife started to realise, oh, hang on, print is quite apparent in my life, isn't it? So yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think that print has been around. It is traditional in the sense that that's the process of how you print. That's fine, but again, we know like there's a lot more depth, breadth behind the scenes, around the scenes, into the scenes. There's more to it than that. It's always been around, and I think it can always kind of stay around. And within print, there's so many new innovations and different things that you can do with it. I think the main thing is that it's constantly always evolving. So like you said, the lasers, there's so much more tech now to it that you can add to print. So I think the main thing is that it's always evolving. So the message and print will always be there. But with print, you can use it in so many more different ways now. And the more innovative that it gets, the more tech that's involved, it will just continue evolving. So in one aspect, yes, it's traditional, but through the inside, it's still always evolving and going to carry on moving forward, just in different ways.
That's really, really good. No, I must admit, I've worked in the print industry for coming up to 15 years now, and I have seen a huge change over that time in development of component parts which are used on printing machines, and it's fascinating. I find it truly fascinating. So like you said, it's great when you get to go out and about and talk to people and sound a bit like a print nerd when you start sniffing packaging and you're like, this is printed like this.
Yeah.
So
Stock is that.
yeah.
It's a bit concerning for other people when you're criticising somebody else's packaging. You can't stop in a supermarket aisle without going, oh, you know, it is it is modernising so quickly now with you know, changes to legislation and packaging taxes, and you know, from my side, it might have been quite traditional, but we're throwing in, you know, digital print, and I actually listened to a session earlier which discussed sort of inkjet and digital print, and that's a new world even for me, but we are, you know, utilizing it along with kind of analog print as well, but the kind of, like we said, the tech is constantly evolving to the needs of, you know, new formats of print, new sort of formats of packaging, and it is crazy.
So talking of change, what do you think sort of businesses can do to change the workplace environment to sort of suit the young talent coming through and to keep young people interested?
Shout about it more. Like I said, you do sort of notice it everywhere, no matter where you're looking. Everyone talks online. You go to events, you go to exhibitions, you go anywhere, and people talking about, obviously, the way that the digital world's helping everything change and all that sort of stuff. But even at these events, look around, what's there? Print. And we don't actually mention that. You don't actually scroll on LinkedIn and really see that many people screaming and shouting about, you know, the ability to print, the fact that print, people say print is dead. It's far from it. All you have to do is look up. And as soon as you put that phone in your pocket, you're looking up and you see all the sort of things that are going on around you. And you go home, you look down, oh, you've got all this post. Well, what's that? Again, it's print. So if people started screaming and shouting about it more, people started showing sort of behind the scenes. We do regular open days where we actually invite customers in. And the amount of times that a customer has come over to me towards the end and said, I can't believe the amount that goes on, like,
Good sales tactic.
It is a great tactic, I must admit.
Show it off.
But when they see some of the things, the amount of times that people say, oh yeah, I just thought it was going to be like a printer, and when you talk about lamination, they think of the old laminators that you see in an office where you put a couple of pieces together and you put it in and wait 30 seconds and it's out. And as soon as they realise, you know, the scale of printing and everything that's involved in it, people start to change, and the conversations that they're having with customer service teams have started to change because they start to respect it, they start to understand it more. And if we, as an industry, start talking about it more and started showing behind the scenes and inviting people in to see exactly what goes on and how things are made, we watch it on TV, so why not do it in person? I feel like a lot of change quickly, but it takes more than a few people doing it. It takes a it takes a lot. It takes a big community. The print industry is massive. There's no reason that it can't happen.
Okay, so on that topic, so let's say we're going to fast forward 10 years. Where do you sort of see the print industry going, and what do you think you can contribute to make the print industry a better place?
Sustainability is like really critical for us at Paranova. So it's always on our mind because we're in predominantly carton board and sort of paper and manufacturing. So it drives a lot of what we do and how we do it and what we're reacting to in the market as well. So it's a core value, but it's something that I need to think about in my role as well. So where I think the industry is going is definitely modernizing. We've talked about the evolving technology and stuff, and I think a lot of that is in reaction to global events and like I say, being more environmentally conscious, and what younger people can do to influence that is obviously to consider that in their roles as their day to day.
No, I think that's a great. It is a huge topic within the print industry in general, so I think that's.
Yeah, we've got a sustainability manager where we are, and he's constantly on top of all this sort of stuff. Everything that we produce is FSC certified, so we make sure that we only purchase FSC certified products. But when you're looking around the factories, if you look up in the sky, you see all these tubes, and that's because when things are being guillotined, for example, they'll go through the tubes, they'll go out to be compacted, and then they'll get recycled. So we're trying to minimise the waste where possible. So people think print will be very unsustainable because, all the trees, all the ink, all that kind of stuff, it doesn't on the surface come across as very sustainable, does it? Let's be honest. However, the processes that can get put in place, that's what changes it. We try and make it clear on our website. We've got a sustainability hub where we'll share all our initiatives and make it very clear. But a lot of customers are educated by that as well, in the way of they're starting to see, everything that's possible to try and be more sustainability conscious is being done. And a lot of businesses now are looking at it from their point of view. So as a supplier to them, we need to be making everything apparent as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would definitely agree with the sustainability points with that. So that's where I'd like to see it carry on going in the future. And then also, like I alluded to earlier, because it's always evolving, just seeing it evolve with everything else, the tech and everything like that. And what we can do to kind of support that is shout about it more, more exposure for everyone to kind of see. And I think key is visibility within it, because obviously it's not known as much. Okay, what happens with print, what goes into print and things like that. So making it a lot more visible for everyone, maybe like documenting, and like you mentioned, as a collective, if you do that, then the message is kind of out there more. It makes it more recognized. So I'd like to see it be more recognized as a career, as a path, industry as a whole. So I think as a collective, if there's more visibility, noise, exposure around it, you'd know that there's a lot more to it.
And
Then they will think
we're in the best place. A lot of young people are known to be on social media and talking and stuff like that all the time. So to make sure that the word's being spread to other young people, make the most of it. Start talking to people, start helping people realise not everything needs to be thought about in a digital context.
Yeah.
There's a lot that needs to be done in terms of print and things like that, and there's a lot of opportunities available.
Definitely. Even the session like today, I think it will probably be beneficial for younger people that are probably looking into careers. If they get to it, they know that there's okay people that have been in their situation, they can relate. They know that they started off in the same place. You know that there's so many things that you can do with it, and there's people that are doing it. So I think getting those messages out there will be very helpful, because I don't know about you guys, but initially when I was looking around, I was looking for, have people done this before? Have they been in my situation before?
Yeah.
What have they done? Where have they gone? So kind of following that through, and also having like a alumni community as well to carry on with that process.
Yeah, I love that idea.
Yeah.
There's definitely a need for that sort of group get together you know, have the industry, the young people who really need to now, even though they're young themselves, still start inspiring the next people who are coming
Others,
through.
yeah.
So
Community is key.
Community, peers, colleagues, mentors. Yeah.
The young people are there. We're here in the industry. It's showing. It's on us a little bit as well to sort of to show that we're here and to because you know, it's like you've alluded to, if you show them what we've done, how we've done it, they're not thinking, oh, these young people are in kind of like senior positions or the managers or whatever. How on earth did they get there?
Still young.
You know, but we just sort of we fell into it. But I would think probably what is similar between all of us is a kind of drive and motivation to push along as well, showing what young people are already doing in the industry is going to make quite a
almost like a proof point, you could say. For people who are coming in, like it is possible, that hope that you can, there are people doing it and things like that, for people who are coming in, and then also kind of as a collective having that responsibility a little bit on your shoulders to know that, okay, how else can you bring other people into it as well?
Yes.
And making it easier for the next person. So say, for example, you've found a way into print, we've all found a way into print. How can we then make it easier as a collective for other people to find their way into print, but easier than it was from us? And then if that carries on and goes down, then who knows? Everyone might be like, oh yeah, print, we know that. We know that.
Soon they'll be excited to join.
Yeah.
No, I think that's great. And it's great to hear from you all and understand your points of view on the industry and how we can make some improvements and what, as an industry, we're already doing so well. So I just wanted to open the floor before we finish off here. Was there anything else that anyone wanted to mention or raise?
Touched on it earlier, but if businesses in print want more younger people and to keep younger people, they really need to invest in that and think about future-proofing, giving them the kind of space to grow as well, because probably a lot of younger people that do fall into print might fall out of it again if they don't feel like there's somewhere to go, and that's a shame because you know that they would have been a great fit for that business if they'd trusted them enough to give them opportunities, to give them responsibilities. So
make it easy to be found. Like I say, people go to university and they get taught about all these different industries, a lot of which, you know, are your traditional industries as well. So you'll get people falling into construction, engineering, all that kind of stuff. But there's not that much representation in terms of print and all the skills that you need for all these industries, because even in these industries, you still have salespeople, marketers, and things like that. They are still going to be needed. So you're still going to have the same skills that are needed in construction and things like that from a young person's perspective that are going to be very transferable into the print industry. But to get to that stage, people need to be putting themselves in front of these people rather than kind of hoping that these people will go to them.
Find their way.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Find their way, like we all have done.
Yeah,
but still
fall into it.
Yeah. Should we say like making it more accessible?
Yeah.
So
I think that's
definitely key. Like after school leavers, whether that's straight after school or college or uni, whatever studies you're doing, just if there are fairs, just having that exposure, having as well people probably that have been in that position as well to speak on it as well, to attract people. And like you mentioned, if in a business you don't really have that future proofing, or you'd like, it's always nice to say you'd like to attract new talent, you'd like to keep new talent, but if you kind of really do want that, then it's identifying that within your own business, like, do we have a trajectory? If not, where and how can we do that, and making that space for people to then not only get in but also to stay there and work their way through it and retain them, I would say. So prioritizing
I'd be conscious as well of only showing young people, because people know that if everyone that you seem to look at looks exactly the same, they all seem to look around the same sort of age, you build the wrong representation. People start to feel a bit, this doesn't seem right.
Not for me.
However, if, for example, someone went to a school fair or something like that, if there was people of different ages, so you get someone from the team that may be younger, someone a little bit older, and someone that's even more senior, people are going to start to trust it, and they're going to say, oh, they're going to feel like, oh, there will be some sort of like growth available. I'm going to be able to sort of look up to this person. I'm also going to still be able to look up to this person. And that'll make people feel much more comfortable, much more trusting of that industry. So if we have people representing different companies in print from different levels, different ages, different experiences, that's going to sort of resonate to different people at different times as well. We're all attracted to different people at different times, and that's sort of key really there.
That's great. I want to thank everyone for joining us on this podcast. Thank you everyone for listening. I think this has been a really interesting discussion on where we are with young people within the industry. And please do get in touch with the printing charity if you have any concerns or you need any support. And young people, please stay interested in print industry.
Thank you.
Thank you.